Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100% You, a podcast which is all about discovering who you're truly meant to be and becoming the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Bari, and I've been on the self development journey for the past 14 years and spiritual journey for the past 12 years. In today's episode, we're going to talk about letting go of when the thing that you want will happen in your life and how. This is probably one of the things that is most hard for people to understand when they want to truly attract something in their life. Or sometimes we want something, but we don't know even how it's even possible to happen. So, as always, I'm gonna make this episode as simple as possible, and I hope you're gonna like it. So, let's start. So, I think one of the hardest thing is when you really want to attract something in your life is to understand that you don't have the full control on how it's gonna happen. And I feel like this is where most of the people keep getting stuck again and again because we feel like we have full control of the circumstances and we feel that if we're going to do the entire plan as we wanted from the beginning, so the thing that we want will happen. Or even sometimes we just want something so badly, but it just doesn't make any sense that it will happen and appear in our life. So this episode, I hope, will inspire you because I had many things in my life that I had no clue on how they're gonna appear in my life, and they eventually happened. And the hardest thing in those kind of things is to actually let go and believe that the thing that you want will happen. So I want to start with a story just to get you inside my life a little bit more. A desire that I had, and I had no clue on how I'm gonna make it happen. So I did talk about it before in the previous episodes, but I don't think I ever gave you the full picture of the specific thing. And I think if you're gonna hear it, I hope it's gonna inspire you. So when I was around 19, I heard the first time about the school that I'm studying in, which is Reichman University. And I heard for the first time about the degree that I'm doing, which is business entrepreneurship. And I also heard that they have an international school. Now, at the time, I didn't want to study at all. And I knew that if I'm going to study, it's going to be probably like film or acting school or something in those areas, or maybe fashion. And I had a vision to do it abroad. I had no clue how I'm going to make it happen because it was pretty obvious that my parents not going to afford this and not going to pay for it. And I knew that in order to actually move to a different country, I probably need to work for a few years and save money because I didn't had a lot of savings back then, at least not enough for doing this huge thing. And most of the universities and places and schools that I looked at from off acting or film or fashion, it was private schools and they were very expensive. So it's like I had this vision, but I didn't know how I'm going to make it happen. So I was like, maybe I'll just take 1 year school abroad. I can work it out. I can work for 1 year and then save money and fly for 1 year to New York or to Italy. I don't know where, but I'm going to make it happen. I'm sorry, it was even before I was 19. It was like when I was 18, probably. So I didn't know how I'm going to make it happen. I ended up doing 1 year acting school in Israel. So I did that when I was around 18, 19, I would say. And since I realized that I'm not going to fly to New York to study film or acting, after that, I knew that I just want to start working and doing my own stuff and doing business and whatever. But I had this small dream of studying in Reichman University, the business entrepreneurship program and the international school. Like, I just really want to do that. And I knew that if I'll ever do a degree, that will be that degree, and specifically in English. And it's a private school eventually, and it is expensive compared to different universities in this country. And honestly, I didn't even had the courage to ask my parents for paying me for this school. I didn't had like even the courage to ask for it because it's so expensive. And I knew that I could not afford to pay for this university. So I didn't even ask if it's even possible for me. I was like, this is a dream I have. I don't know if it's possible. I'm not even going to talk about it. And then I remember in 2020, I dated a guy that was studying in a very like well-known university abroad, and he was talking with me about the experience there and how the study is going and everything. And actually, the conversation with him really inspired me to go and study just for myself, for to explore, to have fun, to learn. So in 2020, it was just 1 month before the year began. I told my father that I was thinking about registering and to see if I'll even get accepted. And when I told him about it, he was so excited that I told him that I even think about going to study, because both of my parents didn't go to university. My father did do university and master's only when he got to his 40s, late 40s. And also it was very obvious that I will not go and study, because I knew from a very young age that I want to be an entrepreneur, businesswoman, and I knew that I don't need degree for that. So he was so excited that his daughter wanted to go study. Also, I think my little brother, I'm pretty sure he's not going to go study. So like I was the only hope for the family to go and study. So he was so excited from the idea that I even think about it. So he was like, no matter like if you get accepted, no, don't worry, I'm gonna pay it. Just go study. I was like, are you serious? He was like, yeah, like I just want you're gonna accomplish one of my dreams. Just go and study. So saying it out loud after like 2 years, I was thinking about this, was crazy. Now, I didn't accept it this year because it was too late. So I did register for the next year, which was 2021. And I did started at this year. I went for 1 week for the university. Then I decided it's not for me. And this entire time, it's a bit long story, but I'll try to summarize it and make it shorter. So what was happening in, I'll say 2020, 21, 22, is that I wanted a lot of things, but I didn't know how to make everything happen. So on the one hand, I didn't really talk about it with people, but I did want to go to study in Reichman University in the international track specifically. Another thing, I want to start real estate investments in the US. I wanted to learn sales, which I did when I was 21. I wanted also to start my own sunglasses company. And I had all of these dreams that I wanted, but I didn't know how to make everything happen, because the real estate investment I wanted to do a course of a few months, of 9 months, and the entire program cost 1 year of tuition of the university that I wanted to study, which I knew that it's like, it doesn't make any sense to do this and that also. Plus, open a business. I knew I had to do more stuff in order to open a business. If we look at the whole picture, it just didn't make sense to do everything. So it was 2021. I registered for the university. I worked back then at sales, and I worked in sales, and I had 3 goals in front of me: to study in the international track, as I said. Second thing is to open a sunglasses business, and third thing is to do the course of 9 months of real estate investments and then work in real estate investments. And all of that I wanted to do, specifically like the real estate, I wanted to do it before the degree. I didn't know how it will make sense, because I was like, I need to learn 9 months. I need somehow to invest in this. I paid for the entire course of the real estate investments, but I was like, I need to save money for the course. And then I want to also open the sunglasses brand. So it just doesn't make any sense with the timeline of like, open this business and then open this business and then go to study. Like, business takes time. It's not like 1 year and then you just go and do something else. So the timeline didn't make any sense. And I really tried to be connected to my intuition, because I just didn't know what to do. Was signed up to the university in 2021. I quit my job that I had back then. And around July 2021, I told my father, listen, I feel like this is not the right time to go to university. I don't know if I want to study ever. And he was so pissed off. He was like, no, you have to do it. And he was literally like pissed off and so angry. And it was really hard conversation also with my mom. They both really encouraged me to go. And and it was the last time that I could. And around that time in the summer, it was the last date that I could tell the university that I don't want to study and get the fees that I paid upfront, get them back, which was around 8,000 shekels, which is like 2,000, 3,000, $2,500, something like this. It was a lot of money, and I knew that if I'll start beginning of the year, I could not get the money back. And my father told me, I really want you to go. Just go, even for like one semester. If you don't go, that will be my problem, and it's fine. I'll lose the money, but just go. You have to go. And of course, I didn't want to make him lose money for a decision, and I knew that it's not the place for me. So I had a few months of like trying to understand what I want to do, but eventually I decided to just let go because I did not had any solution in front of me. I did not know what to do. Also, I quitted the job, so I needed money also, and I didn't know like what type of a job I'm gonna get if I will go to university. So just like nothing made sense. I didn't know what to do, so I quitted the job. I had no job offer. And I had the university, and I knew that I don't want to study, and I didn't know what to do and whatever. And then around 1 month before the university started in 2021, I got a job offer from a high-tech company, and they didn't care that I will do a part-time job, which I cared. I didn't want to do part-time job, but they offered me a part-time job or a full-time job, depends if I'll start study or not. And the crazy thing is that the first week of the work was exactly at the same week of the university. And the first week of the university, it's like a full week from the morning till night. And you basically just have to go to the entire classes. So I had the job that I knew that I want to take. And I had the university that I knew that I dream about, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel right. Plus, also, I wanted to do the international school. Now, I'll stop because I didn't say it. So the international track cost much more than the normal track. So for me, it wasn't even an option to ask my parents for doing a more expensive track. Plus, also, like we talked about for like one conversation, and it was obvious that that's not going to happen. Also, like I didn't want to. Also, eventually, like I could find a way to pay for it, but I didn't want to study with people that are 18, 19. I was like 21, 22. And the international track is known for younger people, and I felt very mature for my age. Like the people I was hanging around with were like 26, 28, I don't know, 30 sometimes. So being with 18 kids now, it felt like, okay, no, I prefer to do the Israeli track, the normal track, not the international one. So let's go back. I had the job scheduled at the same time of the first week of university. Honestly, I wasn't even stressed because I just knew that something gonna happen and I'm gonna make it work. And this is the thing of letting go of knowing how things gonna happen. I just knew what I want. I just knew eventually what I want. I had no clue how this is going to happen. And I had a lot of trust of God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, of everything is going to make sense and everything's going to be at the right place at the right time and the most perfect timing. And this is very important. When you want something, you have no clue how it's going to happen. You just have to have trust. If you don't have trust, that's a huge issue. Also, like being stressed about things is probably the killer to make everything the right way, because if you're stressed about something, you put a lot of pressure and energy towards something that just needs to flow in order to make everything happen. So I wasn't stressed. I was just like trusting the universe. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. And then 2 weeks before the beginning of the semester of the university, the work told me that they postponing the contract in 1 week, and because they need to finish something. So I'll start the week after we planned. For me, it was perfect. Why? Because I had now 1 week that I can go to the university and see if I want to stay or not. Now, regarding the payment, so the thing was with the semester that If I go to the first week, I cannot get back the 8,000 shekels, which is like $2,500. And if I'll continue after this 1 week, I need to pay the entire fee of the semester, which is like, I don't know, but a lot. Okay. So I knew that I must decide this week if I want to continue with the semester, if I want to be a student or not, which was really hard for me because when I was walking there, I was like, I just feel this is my place. But at the same time, I don't know, just something didn't click. I didn't find my people. And I know like it's only 1 week, but usually I'm the type of person, if I get to a place, I just know if it's the right place for me or not. Like I see the people, I'm like, okay, that they're gonna be my people. And I just didn't felt it. I felt so alone there. I felt like I could not find the people that I'm like, this is my people. And in general, just I felt that, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. But at the same time, I was very curious and I was very sad to say goodbye to this dream because it was a dream and it was already 2021. And I was thinking about it in 2019, 2018, when I first heard about this degree. And as I told you, like I never in my life thought that would be possible for me to go and study in this university. Financially, I didn't thought it's going to be possible. So having this opportunity and my parents actually encouraged me to do it and supporting me to do it, for me, it felt like the worst decision I can make is just like say I'm not gonna do that. Also, I remember during this week, I saw the international track from far away and I was so jealous and I was like, I want to be there. I want to be there so much. And of course, at the end of this week, I decided to just quit the university and not even start this and take the full-time job. So I did the full-time job, and after a few months, I also like did it. I still didn't know what to do because on paper, like I postponed the university for next year. So I didn't know like if I want to start the next year. Also, it didn't feel right. At the same time, I worked at a high-tech company and I knew that I wanted to do real estate investments in the States, which also didn't make sense with the work that I had because I worked in US hours. So I could not do more work because the work that I needed to do, I was doing like a different work at that time. So I knew that if I want to start the real estate investments, I need to quit my job. At the same time, I also want to start the sunglasses business, but I had no clue how I'm going to do it. So the entire like past years for me, it was a completely huge adventure. So what happened next was I was working in that company for a few months. Then I had this like insight that I must start to do the sunglasses again, at least like try to understand how this world works. So I started looking for manufacturers in Italy, and I think it was the second or third phone call I had with a manufacturer told me that actually in just 3 weeks, there's going to be the biggest sunglasses conference in Europe. And it was canceled for 2-3 years because of COVID. So this year is going to be huge and I must come. And if I want to understand the entire industry, this is like the right place to go. So of course, I booked the ticket. I didn't tell my workplace until like 2 weeks before. They didn't want to let me fly, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go there. When I came back from the trip, I came with a few insights. First, I realized that business is business, no matter what industry you're in. So it was kind of funny because instead of like coming back with an insight that I need to start the sunglasses business, I was like, no, business is business. I want to start with the real estate first because I feel like that real estate will give me the mindset that I need in order to do business in my entire career. Because I'm looking at, in the long term, like what skills do I want to acquire now for the next decade, for the next 2 decades of my life. This is how I look at the stuff. Like, what skills do I want to acquire, specifically in my early 20s? So I realized that the real estate will be much more valuable for me right now because I'll get the tools and I'll have the mentors and the right people to help me. But with the sunglasses, it will be just walking and trying to figure out my own way. But because I knew no one that doing something like this, especially in Israel, and especially what I wanted to do. So when I came back, I was like, I'm going to do the real estate. I have no clue how I'm going to make it happen because if I want to make it happen, I need to quit my job. And at that exact time, I also needed to decide if I want to study in the university, because it was around May. And this is like the time when I need to give them answer if I'm going to go to university or no. So the funny thing is, when I came back home from this trip, my boss talked to me and he was like, we're going to make a lot of changes now in the department and we want you in this role instead of this role. And immediately when he told me like the new role that I have, I told him, listen, this is not what I signed up for. This is not the role that I want to do. I'm sorry, this is not for me. Like, if you want me to keep working here, I want the job that I have now or something different, but I don't want the thing that you're offering me, because I looked at this as what skills can I acquire? And with the new role, I was like, this is skills that I already have. It's not going to challenge me. I want something that will challenge me. So I kind of just told him, like, decide, I'm not going to do the new job. And after a few days, he was like, okay, so you're not going to work here anymore. So I found myself jobless, need to decide if I want to go to university or not. And what happened next is that I got an email or whatever from the real estate course that I want to do, and saying that they open a new course in just a few weeks. And I was like, okay, I feel like this is a sign. Let's sign up for this. So I signed up for this. I paid the entire thing, which was expensive. Plus I didn't have a job. So it was like, I was like, okay, I'm just going to jump into the water and figure out how I'm going to do it. Once I realized I'm going to start the real estate, I was like, okay, I can do the university, but let's wait with that. So after a few weeks, I also decided to cancel the university. And the thing is with it that you have only 1 year to decide if you want to start study. Otherwise, the money that you paid, the fee of the 8,000 shekels, the $2,500 will just go to the trash, because you have just 1 year that they're keeping the seat for you. And if you're going to postpone it in more than 1 year, you just need to pay it again. So it also was like a really hard decision for me, because I didn't want to make this amount of money to go to the trash, which was really hard decision for me, because on the one hand, like, I told my father from the beginning, I don't want to study, when I realized that I don't want to study. But at the same time, he was like so trying to push me that this is the right way, this is what I need to do. So I decided to not go to study, and I was like, worst case, I'll just someday I'll pay it back, and like, you know, this is right, what feels right for me. And again, like, the entire time, this entire years, I was feeling that I'm going inside like a bush and trying to find the way. I knew what I want eventually, but I didn't know how to make everything happen. I had the vision and I knew that I want everything to make happen. So I started the real estate. I found also like a marketing job that I did as a freelancer during this time. So I was working in the morning and then working at night, and like I had a crazy period of time. And I remember that during the time that I was doing real estate, in my gut feeling, I was just, sometimes I was like sad about the circumstances, and I was like, I feel like I'm too old to start study. And I knew that if I'm gonna start, because I was like already 23, and it was, if I'm gonna start studying now, first it will be very late. Second, international school is not even an option now. Although before it still wasn't an option, but like now I'm like 23. So if I'll start study, it will be at 24. It's not even an option. Like, I'm too old for that. And also I remember I had some times that I was like going to the beach or something, or just going for a walk. And when I did the real estate investments, it was really tough for me, because it was really tough in general. I did my best. I'm proud of myself of everything that I did. I think that I did very good job for sure. I entered real estate when the market was in a plateau and everything kind of stopped. I entered when just a second after the peak, and then everything kind of broke down. So it was really hard time for everyone in general, real estate. And for me specifically, mentally, it was very hard. And in those time moments, I remember once I had this time of walking or going to the beach, all I wanted eventually, if I asked myself, like, if money wasn't an issue now, if your career, whatever, wasn't like your top priority right now, what would you want to do? And each and every time my answer was, I want to study in Reichman University in the international track. And I want to pursue, I don't want to do real estate, and I want to create my sunglasses business, or create any type of business that feels that this is like my dream. and this is like my purpose in life. And I remember one time I was sitting and looking at the beach, and I felt so frustrated that I just didn't know how everything's gonna happen. I didn't even believe that it's gonna happen, you know? At some point I was like, it just, like, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. I'll just jump into the end of the story. What happened next is that things gonna happen with the real estate. I switched between, I think it was 3 different partners throughout 2 years. And eventually what happened is that in August 2023, and again, I'm very connected to my intuition, like very connected to it. August 2023, I think it was the 30th of August, 31 of August, I get an email from the university that this is the last day to register for next year, and that they having at that specific day, they have like an open day that you can come and listen and physically register in the university. I had a few meetings that day, and I remember I saw that email. It was 12 p.m. or 2 p.m., something like that. And they started the entire event at around like 4:30 or 5. And I just, in my gut feeling, something just told me like, Bari, you should go there. You should go to the university. So I canceled my entire meetings for that day just from like small intuition. Very strong intuition though. I went to the university. I remember I sat inside the bus, was on the way there, and I felt so stupid. I felt so stupid. I was like, why are you even going there? Like, you know you don't want to study. You know you don't really want to be a student. It's not even possible for you. And when I got to the campus, I remember when I was at the gates of university, I wanted to go back and take a bus back to my home. And I told myself, why are you even here? Like, go to your meetings. This is more important. And once I wanted to go back, I saw a friend from high school that I didn't see for like 8 years. And I was so surprised to see him. So we started talking, and he wanted to hear about the university. So I walked with him, and we talked for like 40 minutes. When we finished talking, I was like, okay, I'm going home. Like, I don't want to register. I told you. And he was like, but you're here. And actually, like, the lady from the conference room there, she called everyone to enter, and he was like, but you're here. Like, if you're here, just go and listen. Like, it's 30 minutes. It's, you know, if you already got here, so just stay. What's the worst thing can happen? So I was like, okay, let's stay. So I entered to the conference room, and I remember it was a panel of a few graduates from the university. And I remember sitting there, and I was like, I feel like I'm doing much more like crazy things that this graduates. I made so much more than them, and this is not where I want to be when I graduate. And this is like, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be a student, and blah, 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 blah. And I was sitting there, I was like, this is not for me. When the panel ended, I went out and I was like, I'm going home. Like, I'm done. And then just before I exited the building, I saw another friend from high school that I didn't see for even like 9 years. And he was sitting there in the registration table, and we started talking. We talked for like 10 minutes. And then I swear, he told me the exact same sentence that the guy before told me. Was like, if you're here, you already got here. So just, what's the worst thing can happen? Like, you should stay. You should just go and register. Today, the registration fee are 50% off. You should do it. It's like nothing. Just do it. You know, what's the worst thing can happen? Once he told me this, I was like, I feel like there's something here. I don't know what it is, but like, okay, I'm going with the flow. So I went to the registration table that was for my degree. Listen, I went to this table, and I saw there a girl that I met 2 years before when I went to this like 1 week in the university in 2021. And I saw her, and I was like, I remember you. And she also told me like the same thing. I didn't know if I want to register or not. I asked her, the first question I asked her, like, if I'm going to register or not to university. First, is there still place for me in the degree? Because it's like one of the most popular degrees. Usually they don't have like any seats for new students after like June, July, and it was August already. And the second question that I asked her is, if I'm gonna register now, do I need to pay again the 8,000 shekels fee? And she told me, yes, you need to pay it again. I was like, oh shit, like, I don't want to pay it again. But I took the paper of the registration And when with the link and barcode and everything, I was like, okay, I'll just take it and let's go home. It's been too long here. And I went home, went to the bus, and I remember I was sitting in the bus and I went to this link and started to fill the link. And I didn't send half of the things they ask. I just wrote my name, wrote my email, my phone number, and upload my CV. That's it. And the entire registration process, they have like, you need to write an essay, you need to create a video. There's a lot of questions about yourself. I didn't do any of that. I just upload the CV and then like I just finished with that. And I told myself, Bari, this is not for you. You don't want to really start studying. So it's a waste of your time. Just stop. So I did stop and I didn't finish submitting this registration form. And I told myself, I remember when I was in the bus, I was like, if should be mine, I will have no doubt that I need to be in this degree. If something needs to happen, will be mine, and I'll just know that this is mine. And all the stars will align, and I'll just know that this is what should happen. And I reminding you, back then, I was still in real estate investment. I quitted the freelance job that I had in marketing, and I was still not earning money from the real estate. This is something important to say. And back then, I took a job in an NGO, and it was like replacement of someone that went to maternity leave, which for me it was perfect because I didn't want to commit for something, because I really believed that I can grow the business. So something to commit for like 2, 3, 4, 5 months was perfect for me. I didn't want to do something more than that. So I also started a new job. And after 2, 3 weeks, listen, I know it's a long story, but I'm telling you, this is like the most insane story I have. After a few weeks, I get a phone call from the university. After 2 weeks, I get a phone call from the university, and they telling me, listen, we saw your CV and registration, and we just want to ask you if you would love to move to the international track, because we don't have any seats available in the Israeli school. First of all, I was shocked that they even called me, because I didn't remember even finishing submitting the entire registration form. So I was surprised. And second thing is that I was like so sure that I don't need to study. I was like, thank you, I decided that I don't want to study this year. And I hang up. Listen, after 4 or 5 days, I get another phone call, and it was the first week that I started the job of the maternity leave. The first day, okay? I get a phone call from the head of registration office in the university. She calls me, and I'm telling you, like, this phone calls never happen. Never. She calls me and she telling me, listen, I want you to start studying this university this year. We're gonna make it happen. I really want you to study here. And I was like, listen, I decided I don't want to study. I really appreciate that you're calling me, but like, you told me that there's no space, and like, I already have plans and blah, blah, blah. She told me, I know we don't have a seat for you in the Israeli track, but I really want you to study in the international school. I told her, listen, like, I get it, but I decided I don't want to study. Also, like, I'm 24 now, and everyone is like 18 there. It's like, I'm going to be the oldest one. I don't want to be the oldest in the class. And she told me, no, don't worry. And she started to sell me the entire thing. We talked for like 15 minutes. She sold me why I need to go and study there. And then what happened is that I told her, listen, forget about the age. The age doesn't matter. If we look at like the practical stuff, the international school costs much more. And I already paid a fee of 8,000 shekels, and I'm not going to pay it again, period. She told me, and then she told me, listen, she told me I offer it only for like a few, like 2, 3 people, because we really don't want to miss you. And she told me, I called you to offer you the international track in the price of the Israeli school. And I remember specifically where I was when I had this phone call. And I remember looking at the sky, and I was like, if this should be mine, I will just know that like this is the right thing I need to do. And this is the whole thing that I told myself from the second I got to the bus in the 31 of August to go to the open day. I told myself, if this is something that I need to do, I'll just know it. All the stars will align for me. So she told me, I want you to study, and we're gonna make a discount, a huge discount for you, which is huge. It's like it saves me in total, like for the entire degree, more than $10,000. So it's huge. And she said, and I told her, listen, like, it's nice. I really appreciate it. But I paid for the 8,000 shekels fee. And you told me that I cannot get it back because it's been 2 years since I want to start study at the university. So she told me, don't worry, I'm on it. I told her, what does it mean? And she told me, you don't need to pay it because I called you and because we really want you in the university. I'll make sure that we count it as a payment that you already made, and you just need to add the rest of the payment. And for the entire 3 years, you're gonna pay for like the Israeli track, but you're gonna study in the international track. Listen, when she told me this, I was like, this is insane. This is insane. And so I told her, like, how much time do I have to think about it? And she told me, you have literally like till tomorrow, because it was already the end of September. So she told me, you need to give me an answer tomorrow. So I went to sleep and I was like, this is nuts. Like, this is really nuts. Like, how is it even possible? Like, I didn't know it's even possible to have discount in university. So I decided that I will start study. And remember, I told you the job that I had? This is also something crazy. So I started working there. It was the end of August and the beginning of September. Yeah, something like that. And the war, October 7th, started in October 7th. So I told eventually, like, what should have happened, that I would work in the new job for like 2 months and then leave. And that's why I didn't care to tell them that I'm going to university. But eventually what happened is that the woman that I replaced, she went for like 6 months of maternity leave instead of like 2 months. And because I had the 2 months of showing myself and prove myself, they didn't care to give me 70%, 60% even part-time job instead of the full-time job that I had. And we just decided that I'll do the same work, but just much less hours, and I'll get paid almost like full-time job, which was insane. And we had the October 7th, so we didn't work properly for like 2 months. And because it was an NGO, we still got paid, although we didn't work at all almost. Like, we did work, we just did more voluntary stuff, which was amazing. And I'm so happy I was there at that specific moment. But it was definitely not a full-time job. I did my best, but like was getting paid as a full-time job. And at the same time, the university postponed for like November, the end of November. So everything kind of aligned in the most insane way. And also I had a new partner in the real estate, and when like he invested a lot of money in the business, and I didn't know how to tell him that I'm going to be a student, because it just also didn't make sense to invest money and to invest a lot of money and then I'll go to school and I don't have time to manage the business. And thankfully, after like 2 months working together, I realized this is not the partner that I want to work with. So we split it. And after like a few months, I decided that I want to quit the real estate too, which was around January 2024. So it was a huge thing. And also after a few months, I decided I want to start again the sunglasses business. And I ended up working in that NGO for a year and a half, which was insane. For me, it was like the best blessing I could have, because on the one hand, it was not like an easy job, but it wasn't something that required of me a lot of energy. And I felt that I'm doing something with purpose, because it was like in the education field and I love everything related to education. And I got to be paid much higher than a normal student, which was amazing for me. And everything kind of, all the stars came together. And I'm telling you, I'm so happy that it happened that way, and that I started when I started to study in the international track. And yes, there's a lot of people that are younger than me, but also like my best friends now from university. One of my best friends for sure, Leah, I don't know if she's gonna hear it or not, because she's hearing me all the time, but she's my age and we met at the campus. And I'm telling you, it's like for sure we needed to meet somehow. And the moment I got to university, because I went to the university this time in 2023 with a mindset of I'm doing it for myself, because it was such a great dream of mine and I can't believe this has happened the way it happened. I don't mind if I'm not gonna have friends. Like, I'm not coming here to get friends. I'm coming here because this is something that I dreamed of for so long, and I can't believe all the stars aligned. And listen, like, everything that I wanted happened. It just happened in the most crazy way. I wanted to, if we'll take like 2019, 2018, I want to start acting, to learn acting. I did it for 1 year. I want to learn I want to learn marketing in fashion in Milan. Eventually I ended up doing marketing in Israel, but it's also something, I wanted to do the real estate before the degree. Like, I had a vision that if I'll ever go study, I want to do the real estate 9 months course before that. And I want to also work in that field. So that's what I did. I want to learn sales. I want to learn marketing. I want to start my own business. And that's what I did and doing now during the university. And I just want to feel at a place where I'm so tuned and connected to myself, and eventually, like, everything happened. And also, every time that I think about the university, I'm so grateful, because I feel that I found my people there. I feel like, even though, like, now I'm 26, maybe it's too old, I don't care. I'm doing it for myself, working specifically in real estate with people that are much older than me. When I was like 22, 23, 24, it gets you be so grateful for being young, because I had partners that are like 50 years old, 40 years old, or the people you're working with, most of them like 40 plus years old, even 60 years old. So being around young people and just enjoy for a second before I'm going to the next adventure, that's everything for me. So it was more of like an episode of a story, because I really want to talk about it. Plus, this is something that I never like publicly said, because I don't know, I respected the university. They asked me not to say it. I don't know for how many students they offer it, but for sure, like, not for a lot. I think like 2-3 people, and maybe 5, I don't know, but for sure no, it's not something that is common. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And you know what? I feel like when we have strong desire, this is basically our compass to say what is possible for us. And I saw it in so many areas of my life where I had very strong desire towards something. I had no clue how it's going to happen. But since I had such a strong desire, the universe, whatever, everything just aligned eventually to make this happen. Sometimes it was longer, sometimes it was much faster and shorter. But when you have a really strong desire, this is opportunity and something that is possible for you. Now, how it's going to happen is not fully your control. And you need to remember this, because it's really easy to forget that we're just the puppets eventually. There is something so much higher than us that operates this entire system. And we're just the puppets who are controlling and doing, and, we have intuition to do something. It's not because we know everything, is because something higher than us sending us the message of this is the right direction. Like, we know what you want, just listen and you will get there. And the best thing you can do when you want something and you're moving towards something, or something looks at complete chaos in your life, just remember, the one thing you should do is let go. Let go of the circumstances, of the outcomes, let go of how it's going to happen. Because if you will try to control and manipulate it and try to understand and solve everything, you will basically tell the God, the universe, hey, listen, I know better than you. So I have this toolbox, this small toolbox, and I'll just make everything happen with this small toolbox. Like, small toolbox. And eventually, for the entire universe, the operator, God, has so much more to offer you. And eventually the universe has much bigger than you toolbox of things that the universe can do for you without you even knowing that exists. How is it even possible that everything that happened to me, eventually now I'm studying the exact degree that I wanted, it just doesn't make any sense if I'll try to do it. Many things needed to fall into place and to make things happen. So, however, if you want something and you try to pursue it, you do need to take the actions. That's for sure. You need to take the actions, do 100% what you're capable of and think is the right thing to do. We must be in action and do stuff. But at the same time, once you feel that you did everything you needed to do, just stop, take a step back, and let the flow and the universe make everything for you, because you can control everything. You just cannot control everything. You need to do your part, and then the universe does its part. And that's where things start happening and unfold, and you can see them in your life. It forever will be once you let go and living behind all the pressure, all the anxiety. And I feel like many people have so much pressure they put in stuff they want. They have anxiety, they fear of losing something. They try so hard to push and push and push to get what they want. But sometimes all you need to do is do 100% what you need to do, and also trust that you did the best you possibly can do, and trust that the best thing and the most perfect thing that should happen for you will happen, because you believe, you trust, and you let go. Once you let go, you basically give the right place for the right energy to come in. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was longer than the previous episode, at least from what I'm trying to do. Some episodes shorter, some longer. But I think it's a cool story. Like, I would love to hear that story a few years ago, because it will just give me hope that everything will work out for the best. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.